Hey, what's up YouTube? Today I bring to you the Exsanguinate Ore Stacker. So nowadays I'm going to be trying to do like 3.15 League starters. I'm going to play through some of the critical ascendancies and builds and try to come up with some pobs that should help people get going. And then I'm going to do a build diary for each of them. So the first one I wanted to do was the Exsanguinate Aura Stacker because I'm interested in making a build that allows you to transition to Aura Stacker while also being able to use some of the items you would traditionally use on an Aura Stacker, like the medium cluster jewels or the like Saka Walls or Prism Guardian. So this uses March of the Legion and Asenath's Gentle Touch. So you can see there's a lot of crossover between the gears. If you look at my tree, I also have First Among Replenishing, First Among Replenishing, First Among Replenishing. Tree's kind of similar. So I just kill Maven. This character has gone through a lot of changes and iterations because I've been trying to figure out the best way to do it. Because it's kind of weird doing it on an Ascendant and still wanting damage. Exsanguinate is a pretty good skill in the fact that its clear is out of this world and probably one of the better clears you can possibly have at League Start with Chain. But single target is an issue and there are certain ways to solve it, but it's never going to be as good as like a 20-30 mil DPS build. But I don't think the budget that I currently have in the setup allows me to get a build anyhow of 20 to 30 million with that amount of defense. But I'm going to go over the character, and for anyone wondering about my previous build with the Fireburst character, I scrapped that idea because Fireburst is probably too overpowered, and I think Fireburst will probably definitely be nerfed. Because it has the perception of being overpowered because it is really strong with almost no gear investment, and I was able to do a T16 map with Fireburst at level 69 just because of how broken the skill is. And even though I personally do not think that the skill is super strong because it's an Ignite build, you can't really scale it with crit. And it also has a cooldown recovery, so the max clear speed of the build is limited by your cooldown recovery. But people really like builds that seem really strong with no gear investment, and with the amount of people I see on Reddit and streams saying that Fireburst is super strong, I think I've given up on the idea. But if it's not nerfed, I think Fireburst will probably be one of the best League starters. So I'm going to get into this character. Now, as a warning, this character is mainly for people trying to play an Aura Stacker. And previously, I would recommend playing like Bladefall Blade Blast, but this is a character for people who want to experience Aura Stacking and play a good skill at League launch and be able to actually transition without too much trouble and be able to use the gear that they are stockpiling up. So I'm going to go over the gear, the build, and this will be a build diary of sorts, so this is only the start because I kind of want to perfect the character. Because the character, as strong as it is, there's a lot of different variations of it. I know Quantrix showed me a Mom variant where you take Pathfinder, and some other people use a different variant. So this is just my take on it, so I'll probably try to add in the other people's variants and see which one I like more. But let me get into the gear overview and how the build functions. So this build has an imbued wand. Now a lot of people use Cold Iron Point. Now the big difference between Cold Iron Point and an imbued wand is the fact that you can craft on trigger a Socrates spell when you use a skill of an 8-second cooldown. So this means that you will have Bone Offering up. And what Bone Offering actually gives you is, normally you can see our block attack damage is at 44%. So with this up, we have 61 and 56%. Now this means that with Roomies, we are 75 and 66%. So we're pretty much capped block and spell block. And this is actually real block and not the kind that's fake with glancing blows. So this makes us extremely tanky. And at the same time, Bone Offering also makes it so that we recover life when we block. Because I think this applies to us, right? Because if you read Necromancer's bonus, it says that your offering skills also affect you. So this means that it affects us at a 50% reduced effect. So that's why we use this wand, because we can craft on trigger to Socrates spell. So we have Desecrate as the other thing, so that we can get corpses to trigger a Bone Offering. So in the end, it comes down to what, 61, 56% block. So that's how much block you get So that amount of block is the difference between using a cold iron point and using this wand. In reality, a wand is obviously going to be better if you can craft it up fully, because you can get +2 and physical damage over time multiplier and cast speed. But that wand would be near like mirror tier and would be very, very expensive to craft at the start. But there's just one method of doing it. So if you wanted to do cold iron point, you could dual wield cold iron points, but you wouldn't be able to go low life with this setup. So next we have the Crown of the Inward Eye. I played around with a lot of different helmets, and this is the helmet I am currently using. So before I just used a generic life helm, like this helm would probably run you like 10 chaos at league start. Now this helm has an enchant on it, so it might be a little more expensive. I'm not really sure how popular Exsanguinate is going to be at league start, so it's hard to say the price of this helm. But this is probably like 50 chaos, 60 chaos, like, or 1 exalt or so in the first few days, especially after people start doing Cyrus a lot. And this helm is actually pretty crazy, because if you look at it, this helm just gives us 124 life. We replace it, we have 4428 life. But this helm actually has more life than a 4400 helm. And it also gives us a bunch of mana and ES, so 1197. So ES is 1968. This helm, we lose 268, and this is a hubris too. It also gives us a good chunk of armor for some physical flat damage reduction against small hits. And more importantly, it also gives us a lot of damage. So you can see here the 206,000 physical damage per second. Without the helm, it's at 179,000. So this helm is it's just like a good all-around helm. The only thing it doesn't have is resists, which is kind of problematic, but not too big of a deal. So this is a Prism Guardian. Obviously, you don't need a level 23 Grace, and I'm just borrowing my old Aura Stacker's gear. Now this item is probably going to be pretty variable in price. It could be like 2x, 3x, who even knows. But last league, I think it was a little different, because a lot of people got baited by the Petrified Blood build, so I think there are a lot more low life builds that people try to play. And the fact that this item was rare in tier, so it might be 2x, 3x. And the thing is, this item never really went down in price by that much. I think it didn't go down in price until the first week. So, but if you're trying to play the Aura Stacker, this is an item that you will be using no matter what, sooner or later. So I would probably highly recommend picking this item up, because it allows you to reserve 3 of your auras on your life pool. So you pretty much get Haste, Malevolence, and Zealotry on your life pool, so that you're using Petrified Blood. And this is the amulet that we'll be using. So this is just a life physical damage over time multiplier. This amulet will be very, very cheap. I'm pretty sure the enchant champion of the cause. Actually, the amulet's not that cheap because it's a hunter amulet, right? So that's at least like 1x or so. I'm not really sure how hard it is to roll this, but I would probably put this amulet around like an X or so. Not really sure entirely on the price of it, but I anointed champion of the cause for some increased effect in non-curse auras and some reservation of skills. So now we're using a Sack of Walls. This could also be a Shavs. But a Sack of Walls is kind of nice because a lot of people want to play the Aura Stacker, and Sack of Walls is definitely one of the items you'll be using on the Aura Stacker later on. If you're going to play Shavs, you could trade the Sack of Walls pretty much straight up for a Shavs. So this allows us to have... So the chest piece is usually pretty interchangeable at league start, because you can swap it out. You can sell it really easily. 6-link chests are really easy to sell in general. But this is 6 whites, but obviously you do not need 6 white sockets. So the reason I'm using this chest is it allows me to reserve more auras. And it also gives me some attributes and also some ES. So right now we're kind of a hybrid build. So we pretty much have 4.4k life and 1.9k ES. And this is only at level 87. So ideally you want to have like 5.4k, and then this amount of ES will obviously go up with better gear and more better jewels. So here we have Asenath's Gentle Touch. Now this is an item that if you're playing an Aura Stacker, you'll be picking up for sure. It usually runs around 5 to 6 exalts. This is probably one of the first items I would buy, because it is actually an insane amount of clear speed increase having this item on. And this item probably stays around similarly in price throughout the league. I think it never really goes up too much. I know it's +1/+2, but you obviously do not need a +1/+2 Asenath's Gentle Touch. This is just a life with some resist belt. I'm not really sure how much it would be. It has regenerate 200 energy shield per second while rare or unique enemies nearby. I was testing it out and it's pretty good because if you're fighting a boss, this is a fair chunk of energy shield regen. And these rings are just life and curse on hit ring with Vuln. So this ring is nothing special. It's a curse on hit, fire. So you could just roll this with caster more likely. I think unset rings are probably best for this build because we are actually missing a lot of gem sockets. I actually have Arcane Surge right now linked. Arcane Surge pretty much just gives us 10% more spell damage when we use it. And I'm pretty sure there needs to be a way to, if I can find out a way to use life tap, that would be pretty good too, but I'm not really sure how to incorporate it. But life, and the special thing about this ring is it has physical damage leech as life, and when you play Petrified Blood builds, since you don't ever reach full life, your leech is never removed. So you pretty much have the Slayer Ascendancy for free. So that's why Petrified Blood is pretty nice. The main problem with Petrified Blood though is degen, but the way you can counteract the degen is by having ES regen, and it actually feels a lot better after I swapped to having a little more ES with Discipline, so that the degen issue is not so big because the degen affects our ES pool, and then it affects the life pool unless it's Chaos degen. I guess Chaos degen would be really, really bad, but that's why you can get some Chaos res somewhere. But this is pretty much the March of the Legion boots, and this is actually like a kind of a budget setup for the build because the March of the Legion boots allows us to cast our auras. So what it does is you cast the aura, it reserves the mana temporarily, and then you can recast another aura. So you can cast 4 auras pretty much for free. I mean, technically it's not really 4 auras for free because normally you'll be able to run one of the auras. So you, like say, so you could technically run 5 auras, but you would have to uncast that aura to have the spare mana to recast the 4 again. And for me personally, that's just too much work. But I run Pride, my Purities in here. It's probably not the best use case of this because you can run the 50% auras and then you'll be able to run, I don't even know. But I like to have haste up all the time. Malevolence is really important to have up all the time because Malevolence actually, because duration scales the duration of the March of the Legion auras. So right now it's at 25 seconds. Once you have all of the first among equal gems and you get some more duration on the tree, you will be at around, I think the auras will last 30 seconds. So all you have to do is you just need to press these buttons, like 4 buttons once every 30 seconds, and you pretty much have 4 auras that you can cast for free. So it's definitely really worth doing, and I think it's actually an interesting gameplay mechanic. Some people compare it to using slams for a spell build, and it's kind of similar to that. But what this allows us to do is cheat the system and being able to run auras earlier on than we are able to. Now, this build is quite tanky against certain things and really bad against other things. So the main thing that this build excels in is small hits with block. With max block and like block on life recovery from Bone Offering, your character is pretty immortal against small hits. I was able to do the Breach Invitation, and Maven's was pretty much no challenge. The big thing that will kill you is large physical hits, because as you can tell, this build has no physical damage reduction. It actually has no armor even. Wait, doesn't it have... Oh yeah, it has like a little bit of armor. You can kind of fix this problem by running Enduring Composure for 3 endurance charges or crafting on minimum endurance charge. But regardless, your physical damage is going to be a little low. But in the end, we have like 4.4k life plus like 2k ES. So that's like 6.6k life to go through. There's also like another thing we could possibly do, which is running Shield Charge Fortify. But not really sure how big of a fan I am of that idea. Maybe on hardcore it would be good, but on softcore I think we can live without the fortify effect and just deal with it. Some other things that we could do to help out in this build is to try to get ailment immune, but I don't really know how it's possible to get ailment immune. But getting ailment immunity would probably be a pretty good way of dealing with a lot of things. So you can see a lot of our regen is in life. So we have 800.8 life regen. And this will go up as we get more replenishing presences and slightly better gear. I don't have a Watcher's Eye that I bought yet, but I think a Watcher's Eye would improve the damage a lot. So these jewels are pretty expensive, I think, at League Start. So this is a Conjured Wall Mage Hunter jewel. So every time you cast, This has 4% chance to block spell damage, and then this one is 6% chance to block spell damage if you cast a spell recently. So basically what this allows us to do is get near max spell dodge when we have roomies popped. So I don't really, so 75, 66. So I'm not really sure how you exactly get max spell block. So we're a gladiator and then we're a witch necromancer. Another good thing to use is replica pure talent, I think, but I haven't really incorporated that in. So I'm also using Whispers of Doom for an extra curse because I have temp chains from Asenavs and then Vuln on the ring. This is actually kind of like, I don't really know about this setup because 3 points is kind of a lot, but I couldn't find a way to use a curse with Asenavs. I guess the ideal scenario is to have a glove swap for bossing, but that sounds kind of annoying. But you can see that this build still has a lot of like different things you could do. So we have Thread of Hope over here, which is a large ring, so this allows us to get these nodes, Sovereignty, which is pretty good. This node, which converts minion damage to damage, and we have some minion damage from here, Necromancer, 30% damage. And then I'm not really sure where else we have minion damage from though, but yeah. So when we can get these points, and then you can get this Discipline and Training node, and then Sanctuary, which is some more spell block. So overall, this Thread of Hope is very worth it. And later on, when we want to swap the Penance Brand, we can change this to a very large ring and then get Rune Binder for free, which is very, very strong because it saves us a bunch of points. But a lot more damage can be done from like jewels because I can get life and and physical damage over time multiplier. And I think since I'm almost hybrid, I think these nodes are pretty strong, so I might take those nodes instead of these nodes over here. But in the end, it's all about a balancing act and trying to find out the right amount of defense and offense for this character. Right now, I think the thing the character struggles the most with is probably my single target damage. I think it's only like 3 mil or so. But the thing is like I have POBs here. I can link it to you in the video down below. This POB is a 31 million DPS build, and part of the reason is because of Righteous Fire. But it's actually incredibly hard to run Righteous Fire unless you're life based, because if you have ES and life, your degen will just be too much. So this person is pure life based. This gear is pretty insane. So he has like +1/+1 with physical damage over time multiplier. So you can see once you start scaling the damage, every single little bit counts, and the build will become insane enough that you will have like a 20 mil dot, and a 20 mil dot will just absolutely destroy everything because it already feels pretty good on like 2 to 3 mil. So if you have 10 times the damage, you can only imagine how much damage it would do. So this is a build that has a lot of ceiling for scaling, but in the end, for the purpose of me, this is a build meant to transition to the Aura Stacker and use a lot of the Aura Stacker items. So I hope me going over this build rationale helps everyone out. I'll put the POB for the intermediate build and the final build, but I will be doing a lot more changes and you'll be seeing it in the videos, in the coming videos. But I just wanted to showcase like a Maven kill and the Breach Invitation, because in my eyes, the build needs to be able to do a few things. It needs to be able to do the Maven Invitation, the Shaper Invitation. It needs to be able to do Awakener relatively easily. And those are pretty important because you need to get the, the passive tree points in the middle. Like the Feared is honestly whatever. Obviously it's pretty hard, but you probably won't be able to get to do the Fear until you have all of the, you'll probably already be transitioned to the Aura Stacker at that point. So as long as you can do all of the other invitations, then you should be fine. And I think this build is able to do it. But I hope you enjoyed the clips, and don't make fun of my single target too much because it is a work in progress again.
I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own cold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. Did it die? Yeah. Did it die? Did it die? I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own cold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. Did it die? Wait. Did it die? Wait. Did it die? Whatever. whatever you want, I'll be whatever you want. Just tell me you love me or not, whatever it costs. I know I'm talking a lot, there's something I gotta get off. Don't wanna be this no more, I don't wanna drink no more. Always gotta do the most, thinking that I'm insecure. Really should've listened more, but I don't, of course. I'm an asshole, I'm a good guy, I'm your best friend, I'm the worst type. Tell you everything that you heard right, just so I can fuck on the first night. Feel like I'm losing hope, running from coast to coast. I don't know where to go, this all I've ever known. I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. No, did it die? Wait, did it die? Wait, did it die? I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. Won't die. Did it die? Wait, did it die? Wait, did it die? My aunt think I'm perfect, I know I'm not. My mama be worried, I told her stop. They know I did drugs and think that I'm off. Little do they know I never could stop. My manager hate when I'm pulling up late. Back on my bullshit, she think it's a phase. I got relations I gotta maintain. I'm two different people, my side and my main. Yeah, I'm sober, I'm an addict, I'm a lowlife, I got habits, but I refuse to be average. Really so tired of acting, don't know what I miss no more. Too bad you don't hit me more. I'm bad when I get too bored, careful what you wishing for. I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. No, did it die? Wait, did it die? Wait, did it die? I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. Won't die. Did it die? Wait, did it die? Wait, did it die? Take this. When it hurts like this, we climb the greatest heights, jump down and have a fight. And that's all we'll ever like, but that can never change my mind. When it's good, it's amazing. When it's bad, it's uneasy. I wouldn't have it another way. There's no other way. Yeah. When it hurts like this, ever like, ever like, ever like, ever like, ever like, ever like. When it hurts like this, ever like, ever like, ever like, ever like, when it hurts like this, we hold each other high, but we fall 1,000 times. But I'd never say goodbye or ever leave this stuff behind. When it's good, it's amazing. When it's bad, it's uneasy. I wouldn't have it another way. There's no other way. Yeah. When it hurts like this, ever like, ever like, ever like, ever like, ever like, ever like. When it hurts like this, ever like, ever like, ever like, ever like, when it hurts like this.
And yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed the Boston clips. It's probably very, very long. I should have probably tried to speed it up to make it look better, but yeah, all of it was actually done on Awakening level 9. I didn't edit out the footage or anything, or at least I hope I didn't, because it looked really, really slow. So imagine if I actually edited the footage to look faster. like some people, then yeah, it would be even worse. But this build is kind of like the aura stacker in the sense that it doesn't feel very good, but each point of HP you get makes the build feel really, really strong. And that's just the case with anything with a lot of defenses with max block and stuff. So I'm pretty excited to see how much I can progress this build. Main thing I need to do is get the levels, get 95. I can fill out this cluster, 1, 2, 3, 4 points right here. And then I would be able to put some more points in the life nodes, and then I think the build should be looking pretty good. Around 94 is probably when most people will be able to do like the fear on the league and stuff. But anyhow, if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and subscribe. I will be going to Vegas tomorrow, so I won't be able to make videos for the next 2 days, but I might upload like an IRL video after Vegas. I'll try to record some footage. I am going to Vegas to play some Top Golf, and I'm bringing my dog with me, so I'm staying at the Cosmo, which is actually a dog-friendly hotel, luckily enough. So yeah, but anyhow, I look forward to the trip and making videos on this character in the future. But thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope you find more mirrors and exalts than I do, and see you next time.